You can leer at me all you want.
Dude, we're filming.
Battery is draining.
And we're live. Battery's draining, memory card is filling.
I had to remember who she was. I don't remember.
You can't remember Jennifer Lawrence? She's the one Hollywood is always talking about. Okay, so there's an actress named Jennifer Lawrence. She came onto the scene with Winter's Bone. Nobody knew who the hell she was until Winter's Bone. And then Winter's Bone, which if you've seen it, is fucking boring. Nothing happens for 2 hours. But I can admit she did act well in it. Okay?
I will admit that I felt like at the end of that movie, I got the cold bone on that.
That's a good one.
Drop the mic.
But ever since Winter's Bone, the Academy Awards, the Oscars, have had a bone for Jennifer Lawrence. She was in a movie called Silver Linings Playbook. I understand that mental illness is like a current thing that people in movies love lately. Like actually everything is doing mental illness. You got Homeland, you got frickin' Silver Linings Playbook, you have Mr. Robot, Black Swan, Birdman. There's mental illness fucking everywhere.
Yeah, and
everywhere.
We've reached a point in society where all these people who have been the jaded, lost and forgotten now want to be in the center of attention and hugged.
But that's beside the point. Jennifer Lawrence has pretty much been nominated with whatever they can make a mild argument to nominate her for. Obviously, they're not going to nominate her for X-Men, okay? So she hasn't been nominated for that. But I bet you if the Academy wouldn't get shit for it, they still would nominate her for
And you know
X-Men.
what the sad part is when you think about her roles, why are my eyes so itchy? She is basically a slightly better Kristen Stewart. 90% of her roles are the same character. She uses the same expressions. The only difference is Kristen Stewart walks around going, and Jennifer Lawrence walks around going.
But
I mean, Jennifer Lawrence doesn't even fully fucking open her eyes in 90% of the scenes she's in. They're just kind of like.
I actually haven't noticed that. Perhaps I could make a little montage if that actually exists, so I hope you didn't make that up.
We'll see.
So, the other movies she was nominated for, Silver Linings Playbook. I understand the quality of that movie is fine. Was it better than everything else? No. Why wasn't it? Because it's fucking boring. Just like Winter's Bone. Nothing happens in that movie. Half the movie is about betting on football, and the other half is, oh, look at me, I'm a quirky mental patient. Like, it's boring.
Not to mention...
It's boring. Like, she's not even showing that much range. She gets sad when Bradley Cooper, like, you know, isn't showing her that he likes her. And the rest of the role, she's being, like, weird. Like, inappropriate. Was that groundbreaking?
And for me, that was actually one of those movies, and you know, normally I'm not one of these people who gets caught up in this, but with Bradley Cooper, they did that movie just a little bit too quick after the Hangover series was really, like, thumping in the money.
Yeah.
That it kind of pulled away from the legitimacy of that movie, because you just see Bradley Cooper, and you're watching him, and you're waiting for that moment where he just picks up the cell phone and be like... So we fucked up again. I met this chick and she's fucking nuts.
I actually, to be completely honest, I don't think Bradley Cooper won. He was nominated, but I don't think he won for that.
I just felt like it deteriorated from the movie.
But Jennifer Lawrence won for Silver Linings. And everyone was saying the scene in the diner when she gets upset at him and she storms out was like, oh, that's an Oscar. It was good. But was it better than everybody else? Who knows, okay? But Bradley Cooper, in my opinion, showed more range because he, as the star of the film, had to show his whole progression and he had to depict mania, and I just felt like he pulled me in more than she did.
And you know what? Movie. If you want an Oscar scene that happens in a diner, you go back and you watch Boondock Saints, because when Rocco lays out some motherfuckers...
What about Pulp Fiction?
We're Boston fans, okay? And you just shit on my Boondock Saints reference right there. That was an awesome diner scene.
I was not aware that once a scene is made in a setting, that's it. There can only be one best scene in that setting. So we can give it to them. Boondock Saints can have it. Okay, yeah.
It's I don't fucking know you.
Chastain that year,
So Jennifer Lawrence for that fucking diner scene. Wait, she won over Was she a lead? I thought she was a supporting actor.
Jessica Chastain?
No, Jennifer Lawrence should have been supporting for Silver Linings. They gave her lead.
She was the lead actress.
Yeah, she's technically a co-lead in that storyline.
Yeah.
She is entered in a little later than Bradley
They gave
Cooper.
Jennifer Lawrence an Oscar in a movie like 25% of which is a comedy over a fucking extremely strong female character who led a hunt for Osama bin Laden, who has to depict stress, who has to depict ambition, who has to depict sadness as the sole lead of an entire movie. I mean, she's in every scene of Zero Dark 30 except for the final killing of Osama. She's in every scene that leads up to that. And they gave the Oscar to fucking Jennifer Lawrence over Jessica Chastain. If you've seen Zero Dark 30, can you really argue that Silver Linings performance was better than Zero Dark 30? Absolutely not.
So I guess that brings us to our next point. Whoever fucking votes on these Oscar nominees,
A bunch of old people.
fucking get your shit together. No wonder why you got so many fucking problems.
But another movie, which is even worse, at least Silver Linings has Jennifer Lawrence in the movie for most of the movie. American Hustle. She is in that movie for 20 minutes max. Maximum 20 minutes. Okay? And she plays a good role, which is different from roles she did in the past. But she other than sadness and like self-centered attitudes, that's it. There isn't that much more emotional range of Christian Bale's wife, you know? She just plays this unintelligent, spazzing out wife.
Not to mention, I mean, in American Hustle, she gets lost in the shuffle because Christian Bale's character
Way better.
way outside of his normal character portrayal.
Absolutely.
And was phenomenal. Like, you see him as this fat,
Gross,
slobby,
gross fake hair.
he was basically Tom Cruise's role
in Tropic Thunder,
but real.
Serious. He actually put the weight on instead of wearing a fat suit.
Yeah, and like you could just even though in some scenes he was perfectly fine, you could just feel that perspiration that you know is underneath the veil of that hamburger meat.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then on top of that, Amy Adams, phenomenal.
So much better than Jennifer Lawrence in that movie. Completely overshadowed her. She had to do two different accents, but they both had to sound, very high level. And she had this weird love triangle, and she had this whole scheme that she was
And
part
on
of.
top of that, if you look at her fucking resume, Amy Adams is at least an actress who fucking does everything.
Yeah, exactly. Jennifer Lawrence is a good actress, but is she better than freaking Jessica Chastain and Amy Adams? If you look at her awards, she is in the eyes of the old people academy. But there's no way. She's barely even in half these movies, and she's overrated as shit in these other movies. She's a good actress, but she's not as good as the academy thinks she is.
Now, I'm going to end my argument with what I started with. She is Kristen Stewart, who is able to keep her mouth closed when she's not talking.
Good enough. What do you guys think? Do you also think she's overrated? Or do you think she's underrated, which means you think she's overrated?
Leave Jennifer alone.
I feel like it's more difficult to give a quality performance. You need to do an exceptional, amazing job to pull a blockbuster or a rom-com or any type of comedy into an Oscar level.
Of course, because if it's not an Oscar film, you're already handicapped from the get-go.
Exactly.